All right, peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. Doing this live. Hold on. Doing this live tonight, man. It's been a while since I did a live, so I wanted to do this live tonight, man. Everybody has been watching the draft for the past couple of days. The biggest topic has been the son of primetime Dion Sanders, Shadure Sanders, who was the starting quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes. And he was considered probably the number two quarterback in the nation. Some consider him the number one. But after 3 days, instead of going in the first round, the second round, the third round, the fourth round, he ended up like the 144th pick in the fifth round. And there were several other quarterbacks taken before him, which had a lot of people looking at the NFL sideways. And if y'all coming in, make sure y'all let me know where you're coming from. Drop a comment in the chat. This is your first time to the channel. Please like the channel. But a lot of people have been looking at this and saying that the owners are in collusion. And so I wanted to do this video to show kind of the history of collusion in professional sports. We all was outraged about the Colin Kaepernick controversy when he got pretty much blackballed when he started to take a stand because of his beliefs against police brutality. But there are several other people, and you saw them in the on the thumbnail, that has suffered because of taking a stand, and probably because of their blackness. We all know that NFL is controlled by, let's be honest, old rich white men. And they have a club. Like, even if you wanted to buy an NFL team, all of the owners have to approve that sale. So that is another form of racism, which is the ability to deny another person the pursuit of liberty, life, happiness, financial gain, and the like. And so many people feel like this situation with Shadure Sanders was an outright attack on his father, Dion Sanders, who has always been brash, who has always been a lover of God, and who has always made it his point to, say what's on his mind and call out other things. So what I'm going to do real quick is play one of the guys who were talking about this situation and how it's obvious that, these owners have colluded to, not let this young man be his pick as high as he needed to be. And actually, they said his drop from a number one first round draft pick to where he was chosen cost him about $30 million. But watch one of the guys who was brave enough to tell the truth on ESPN. Watch what he said. And y'all make sure, once again, y'all like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Watch what my man James Jones said, I think. Stop it right there, because he just made the point of the whole thing. They are trying to get at Dion through his son. Now, if y'all remember, Dion said that if he goes to Cleveland, he won't play, right? And so I think they, and mind you, he got drafted by Cleveland. I think they literally just kept him waiting all those 4 rounds to say, okay, I bet you'll take getting drafted by Cleveland now instead of not getting drafted at all. You got to think about the NFL. Y'all remember when Jerry Jones told his players that, and he used this exact word: none of my boys better kneel. He said, none of my boys better not never kneel. And you know what they did? They didn't kneel. What's going on? Y'all make sure y'all holler at me, like, share, and subscribe to the video. And y'all remember the picture that surfaced with Jerry Jones as a young kid in the crowd with a mob that was antagonizing. I think it might have been the Little Rock Nine, one of the black groups of people who were trying to integrate the schools. So this whole NFL narrative, this NFL club is steeped in racism. Now, remember back in the days, the Pittsburgh owners, right? The Pittsburgh owners, they said it was a Rooney Rule. They had something called a Rooney Rule because there were no black coaches getting jobs in the NFL, right? And so they said the Rooney Rule was you at least got to interview a black coach before you hire another coach. And of course, they started doing the little interviews, but it was one coach in particular. I think it was one of the two of the coaches I have up there is Eric Bieniemy and Brian Flores. Now, Brian Flores was the coach of the Miami Dolphins a few years ago. In his first year, he was like 10-6, took them to the playoffs. The next year, he was fired. And he sued them. And, I don't know the results of the lawsuit, but he said that when he went on interviews, I think it was an interview with John Elway for the Denver Broncos. Now, John Elway was the general manager. He said when he got to the interview, John Elway was late. You can tell he had been out all night. His shirt was disheveled. You know what I'm saying? He come in there, just half drunk. And the guy was like, I knew right then it was just a formality. They weren't going to hire me. Now, the other coach up there is the coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy was the mastermind behind, Patrick Mahomes' first 2 or 3 Super Bowls. Eric Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator. And Eric Bieniemy has went on several professional head coaching interviews, and he has yet to get one job. And everybody feels like, yep, the owners have made it clear that they don't want Eric Bieniemy. Maybe he don't play the game like, they want him to. Maybe, he made somebody mad. But they have a club. They have a collusion where if they don't want you in that position, they don't want you playing, they will not draft you. Now, Lamar different now, but it's just not relegated to football. There's a couple of basketball players that I put on the thumbnail who had their careers taken because they wouldn't adhere to the status quo. Now, one of them is Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Now, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, now there is no black owners. They're going to say there's black minority owners, but those black people own like 0.005% of those teams. The only 2 melanated majority owners are like a Chinese man and like an Asian woman. There is no black majority owners in the league. Majority means they own more than 50% of the team. But Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, his name was Chris Jackson, a beast. Y'all remember him back in the days? If you my age, he was a beast. Now he turned into a Muslim. And he started before Colin Kaepernick. He started sitting on the bench because Muslims are not going to stand and give honor to the flag. When he did that, he was blackballed by the league. Now watch. Now this is a white man. He's going to tell you how they blackballed Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf from the league. Just watch this right here.
And against racism.
One of the greatest players in the history of the NBA was cheated out of his career.
Why did you decide to stop standing for the national anthem?
I became a Muslim and I began to read more than I've ever read before. But as I'm reading, you know, whether it's foreign policy, domestic policy, I'm seeing America's hand in so much corruption. And then I'm looking also at the history of this nation, slavery and Jim Crow and segregation, right? I can't reconcile standing up for this symbol, right? I just can't.
The reaction in 1996 was swift and violent. Abdul-Rauf was suspended by then NBA Commissioner David Stern. He also received death threats, and the dream home he was building for his family in Mississippi burned to the ground by the Ku Klux Klan.
What did you think that the reaction would be?
I wasn't surprised that was the reaction. Why? Because history has shown, in particular, when young or African-American athletes, entertainers, whoever, step outside of the athletic box and speak on something else, you're condemned.
Abdul-Rauf was traded the next season. His playing time diminished. And with teams unwilling to sign him, the once promising superstar was out of the NBA at the peak of his career.
Do you think that your stance ended up costing you your career?
Of course I do. History. You know, not much has changed.
Fast forward, there's a football quarterback who decides he's going to kneel in protest inequality, police brutality. Did you know what was going to happen to Colin Kaepernick when he started that?
I had a strong idea of what was going to happen because I've read the playbook.
Has the NBA reached out and said, you know what, we were wrong, or we could have handled it differently?
There are people in the NBA who privately, you know, say things. How would you feel if the NBA gave you an apology? Families were hurt. People lost income. Reputations were destroyed, right? And so you just can't apologize and make it all right. No, I care less about the apology.
As we sit here, it certainly seems like you have no regrets.
No, none whatsoever.
Wow.
I didn't know that story. Me either.
You know,
Fascinating.
All right, so that's an example of a strong black man who was standing on what he believed, sort of like Muhammad Ali, right, and many others throughout history. This man endured death threats, had his home burned to the ground, all because he didn't stand. And you're right, CJ. They said, and Michael Eric Dyson had a book called $40 Million Slaves. And that's what he talked about. Like, and I know some NBA players. I got a close friend who was an NBA player, and they are very strict. Like, you can't do certain things. They literally, when you sign that contract, you are signing pretty much over your life, right? And as soon as you step out of bounds, you know, your millions are taken. And that's why I'm kind of giving them grace, because, okay, if I was an NBA player, I worked all my life, or NFL player, I worked all my life to get somewhere. My family's depending on me. I got this expensive lifestyle. Can I really say that I wouldn't have kneeled when Jerry Jones told me not to kneel? You know what I mean? What like you know, that's a decision that many people are not willing to take. Man, you got people that's making $30,000 that won't tell on the CEO. I mean, the CO that's messing with the inmates in the jail. You know what I'm saying? So if you're making millions, and so you gotta think about it like that. But when we realize that, you know, like I said, like if all the NBA and the NFL are 70 and 60% black, if we realize if we take all our players out of there, we start our own league, you know, then they would have to fold, or they would have to, all right, okay, y'all can do it, y'all come back, but you know, y'all don't have, you know, as much restrictions, right? But it's something about white perception or white acceptance or white in proximity, you know. It's something that I guess we have been conditioned to crave. You know, this Emmy, you know, this Oscar, you know, this Heisman Trophy, this award, and And that's why I titled it, "Why Are We Still Watching It?" Because they have shown us who they are. And the saying, when someone shows you who they are, you got to believe them. So, but we have a very, very short memory, because I remember everybody was saying, "I ain't watching the NFL no more. We're gonna boycott the NFL." Then, of course, the playoffs started, and it was, who's gonna win. And I'm not going to say I'm not a football fan. I like football. I played football. I like the Eagles. I actually went to a football game for the first time in about 10 years last year. And so I'm not going to say that, but I'm not like a fanatic. I'm a fan. Fanatic, you ain't going to find me with no Eagles flags on my car. You ain't going to find me with Eagles all on my seats. No disrespect to nobody who does, but, I'm not that. You know what I mean? But, I like the sport. My team, like I said, my team was in the championship game. I had a chance, by the grace of God, to fly up there and go. So I went, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to just mortgage everything to go to a game, or, just go all out. But there's another player that I'm going to play this real quick. There's another player, and this was Craig Hodges in the 1990s. Again, Craig Hodges was a 3-point specialist. I mean, he had the most points per minute ever in NBA history. Now, this is him talking about how he got blackballed. Just look at this.
I was an unrestricted free agent, brother. All right. I was getting ready to make more money than I was getting ready to make generational wealth when my son was going to have to hoop nowhere. All right. Follow me. Now, I go to the White House on October 1st, 1991, get a presidential letter. I'm still the best shooter on the planet. I done won 2 consecutive 3-point titles at that point in time. I go and win another one, and then win another world championship. Ain't nobody ever did in the game what I did. And I wasn't paid for it. I wasn't paid for it because the position that I took. For the next 5 years, I led the Chicago Summer League in scoring, man, and not had a team to play for. So I was giving Tim Hardaway them 35s. You feel me? So it wasn't like my game was like y'all want to say my game was, because you have the media to be able to say, you know what, Craig don't play defense. Yeah, my teammates will tell you half the guys in the league don't play defense. We play under a defensive scheme. Mm-hmm. You follow me? So this, see this here. Check this out. 1992, I was on.
All right, so that's Craig Hodges. Now, Craig Hodges was a 3-point specialist. I see he wore a dashiki to the White House. He was he won 3 straight championships with Michael Jordan. He would come off the bench and give you like 6 straight from 3-point. Why? I always wondered why they didn't start him, right? But that's probably why. So he went to the White House when they won the championship. And when he went there, he gave the president, I think it was Bush, a letter. And in the letter, he was talking about, the oppression of black people, the wars overseas. When he got back home, before the next season even started, that joker was waived. And he never played in the NBA again. And so that's how this all goes together. Those rich white men are just as connected with the racism and politics than President Trump. So I always, I don't like to talk politics, but I remember when the Trump thing was happening in the election and everybody was all up in arms about this guy. Well, I'm not going to even talk to my family no more because, they voted for Trump, or, if you like Trump, then, I'm going to block you and all of this. But the same people are going to buy a Redskin jersey, are going to buy a Dallas Cowboy jersey, are going to buy some Nikes, are going to buy some a Cadillac or a Benz. And we don't know if all of these people support Trump, And so that's how interconnected this is. If we are going to remove ourselves from the system. We got to remove it completely. You know, but I'm glad this happened because once again, like this is I know, like there's no way in the world that all of those people didn't get together and was like, nah, you know, we got to show them guys who run it here. You know what I mean? And people and as the guys were talking, Shadure was trying to be, you know, cool about it, you know, but you can look on like after that first night, he had a smile on his face, but it wasn't his regular smile. The second day, you know, he was doing little videos, but it wasn't his regular self. He was hurt. He was humbled. He was embarrassed like they wanted him to be. And then it's like, okay, well, they lifted the embargo, like Stephen A said. Okay, all right, we got him looking how we want him to look now. All right, so now let's draft him, and now let's, you know, let him work his way up. Never mind the amount of money that he lost. And I always say, you know, even with this quarterback thing, right? This quarterback thing is also racist. Like you can be a black quarterback. I remember several black quarterbacks, and they love their Becky. Yeah, you're right. I don't know what it is about professional athletes and Beckys. Y'all tell me about that in the comments. What do y'all think? But it's several black quarterbacks. I'm talking about if you don't have a good season, the first or second season, you are benched. Like there is no average. Like there is no black Andy Dalton. There is no black Ryan Tannehill. There is no black Derek Carr. There is no black any other black starter. I mean, any other white average starter that you see in the National Football League. If you are black, you got to be dominant. You got to be the best of the best. If not, you're going to be sitting on the bench. You're going to be traded. I remember Tavares Jackson, rest in peace. He was the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. He got his first year starting. He took him to the playoffs. He took him to the playoff. You know, even won a playoff game. The next year, Brett Favre, they was moving him out of Green Bay, and they gave him the pick of the litter. And he went to Minnesota, and he moved Tavares Jackson out. Tavares Jackson never really played in the league again. No black Sam Darnold. You're right. I was trying to think of them all, right? There's no black Sam Darnold that's going to get a starting position anytime. You got to be great. You know what I'm saying? They made Braxton Miller play wide facility. Yeah, man, it's crazy if you're not paying attention, right? You know what I'm saying? There's no black quarterback who can just be a journeyman and start. No, you gotta be great. Yep, they ran Cam Newton out. Yep, they Joe Flacco. Yeah, man. Yep, Joe Flacco. Like it's and like I said, somebody brought up the Manning brothers earlier, right? The Manning brothers, Peyton, Archie Manning, their father, who wasn't even that good in the pros. You know, he was all right, but simply contracts with the alphabets of the government. Yeah, Charlie Ward, but I think Charlie Ward really wanted to play basketball. Geno Smith, yeah. Geno Smith is probably the only one. Geno Smith, I don't know how he keep getting the job, but he might be playing the game like they want him to. But the Manning brother, Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor was starting one season. He was starting good, and they just yank him out for that white journeyman. You know what I mean? But the Mannings told who was it? I think it was the Chargers or something, said that Eli will never play for them, and they traded him or they skipped him or whatever. So when Dion said, "Oh, it's a problem," you know, and that's another thing too. They always talk about black running quarterbacks and how he's a runner. He's a runner. He's good with his legs, and that's always a handicap for a black quarterback. But with Josh Allen, it's the best thing since sliced bread. Oh, look how he's a runner. Oh yeah, he's gonna, So if you just listen and watch, right? They'll say, if a black quarterback throws a great pass, they're gonna say, "Oh, look at the great catch by the receiver," right? You know what I'm saying? But if a white quarterback throws a sloppy pass and the black receiver just go and get it, they're gonna say, "Oh, look at a wonderful pass. He threw it where Tyreek Hill could only get it." You know what I'm saying? So, man, I noticed this a long time ago. Joe Montana, they consider him the best quarterback ever, but Joe Montana had Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, and that another quarterback. I mean, another good receiver, right? He had a whole bunch of great athletes. Yeah, Dak Prescott. Well, Dak Prescott is actually considered an elite quarterback. I don't know. I'm not a Dak Prescott friend, but then I think about Joe Theismann. Joe Theismann had Ricky Sanders, Art Monk, all those great players around him. But he'll throw a little 7-yard pass. The receiver might run for 90, and then, of course, they give him credit for the 97-yard pass. They call Josh Allen Hennessy an arm pump, praising it. Yeah, Italy Armstrong. That's my daughter named Italy. If that's your real name, that's dope. It seems we never had a chance to fully. Yeah, man. We with this sports thing, man, we I don't know why we watch it, and I've always stated that we put too much time and energy in sports. I know a lot of people with sons and daughters, they traveling all around AAU every weekend, this, that, and the other, thinking their child is going to be the next Michael Jordan or LeBron James. And you got to realize there's only 0.0000003 of the high school athletes that are going to make it, and only 0.0000003 of them is going to make it to college, and only 0.0000000 of them are going to make it to the pros. So we gotta do better, because I've seen it happen time and time again. Well, all of these star athletes in high school, and they don't make it to college. Then next thing I know, I see them standing on the street corner. I see them hustling. I see them in jail. Why? Because they put so much emphasis on this pipe dream, on this once in a million dream, that they have no other skills. And it's such a letdown. Think about it. When you the high school, when you the high school star, like, and you getting all the play, your name in the paper, the girls love you, and then you don't make it into the league. Like, that is I can name names just in my little hometown of Goldsboro, and they were really good. But when you get to college, you know what I'm saying? They are, and when you get to college and when you get to, high school, like, everybody is good. You know what I mean? So when you are the cream of the crop in the small town of Goldsboro, North Carolina, of 50,000 people, and then you go to, you know what I'm saying, you go to UNC, and you got to compete against everybody across the state, cats from Mississippi, Louisville, Cali, who've been balling. The next thing you know, you realize, dang, I ain't as good as I thought I am. Now your grades ain't good because everybody didn't make you go to class. The high school gym coach, your high school basketball coach made sure you pass all your class. Now you don't, you know what I'm saying, you don't have no skills. You don't know what you want to do. You've been let down. Now all of a sudden you turn to substances. Man, there's so many stories like that. So I think it is us as a culture too that praise these guys. Like, man, I see grown men every day on Facebook or every day in their conversation talking about how good LeBron is, or who's the best between LeBron or Jordan or Kobe, or who's gonna win between Ja Morant, or breaking down people. Like, people spend 5 or 6 hours a day on that. Imagine if people spent that much time studying the stock market or study. Like imagine if parents took their kids to STEM camps instead of basketball camps, took their kids to math camps, took their kids to computer camps instead of basketball camps all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you, firefighters, medical programs, plumbers, electricians, like, so many ways to make money. but we spend our time investing in a pastime. Farming, you're right, because when they shut down the grocery stores, what we gonna do? Right, farming, so many things that we can get our child's interest to, but we are to blame because we put praises on these people, we lift them up, we idolize them, and so what else your child gonna look to? You know, imagine is we would spend more time in our word. Yep, read the Bible. You know, so yeah, a lot of things. Rappers, all the music and entertainment, like they put this carrot in the air and be like, "This what you should shoot for," knowing that it is a long shot that your hands are going to grasp it, right? But we put so much emphasis. And like we ain't teaching them business, we ain't teaching them generational wealth, we ain't teaching them credit. Only thing, okay, we're raising money for the AAU team to go to Houston, you know, to play against John Wall's team. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's team Kobe White. You know what I mean? So it's you know, and I hate it. You know what I'm saying? I hate it when I just see it, like, you know, like. You got a whole, the stands are filled in the local championship basketball game. The stands are filled, but the meetings at the school board meetings are empty. Where they're deciding where to spend the money, when they taking the money out of the inner city schools and putting it into, you know, the suburb schools. Those, you know, like you know, the football stands are full, but the county commissioner meetings is empty. You know what I mean? So, man, this is something that, you know, is just amazing to me on how much emphasis that we put on sports. Yeah, we are definitely, you know, but you know, once again, it's been the number that has been done on us. But you know, I'm happy for the young men, you know, who got drafted and who are able to change the trajectory of their families' circumstances. But however, 50 or 60% of those athletes, and probably it's more, they go broke less than 5 years after they finish playing. Why? Because they don't have any money management skills. Somebody has stolen all their money. They have squandered their fortune. They're living paycheck to paycheck. Even though they make $350,000 a week or $350,000 a game, they're spending it like they make $500 a week. If they're not smart. You know, I know some NFL players who are, you know, who've been smart with their money, and you know, they are, you know, they are successful, and they gave their family generational wealth. But then a lot of guys without a good background, without a good foundation as far as spirituality goes, without a good father figure, you know, that they end up broke. You know, you hear the stories, Antoine Walker, you know, so many guys, you know, what happened to this? They're putting it, yep, you're right, Jabai. They're putting their money in people's hands that don't look like us. And so there's definitely, and another thing that they really don't like is the black father standing behind their son. You know, they always praise the single mothers, and shout out to the single mothers. I'm not saying anything, but when Kevin Durant got drafted and LeBron James got drafted, they always do the story of, oh yeah, look at the single mother, his mom, he's going to buy his mom a house. But when they got the black father there, i.e. LeVar Ball, i.e. Kobe Bryant, i.e. Ja Morant, i.e. Dion Sanders, i.e., all of these fathers who are active in their son's life. Oh, well, he needs to back up. Well, why is he, is his father's relationship hurting him? Is his father's? Nobody said that about, Eli Manning or, any other father that is in their child's life. So with that, there's always the hate, follower of no man. You're right. The hate of the confident black man. There is always that fear of the confident black man. Like you said, you got field Negroes and you got house Negroes. The field Negroes are the ones who really don't care. Like, we already out in the field. We don't need you. Tim Jones spent 9 seasons with the Washington Redskins. He was with them from 1983 to 1981. He accumulated $21 million. He grew up in the projects and was raised by his mother. No, I'm not saying, that there aren't successful men who was raised by mothers who did great with their money. You know what I'm saying? So don't take my statement as an end all be all. But the parent teacher. But another one, Doug Williams. Y'all don't remember Doug Williams. Doug Williams, black man, black quarterback with the Redskins. That's what made me think of that. He messed around and won the Super Bowl. The next year, he was out of the league. He didn't play another down. Unexplicably. Unexplainable. So, the wordplay, the Ball brothers' father was doing numbers for them, and the media was trying to tarnish them and their name. Yeah, does not have money because his mother not. He is struggling to make ends meet. See, but okay, well, I don't know Tim Jones. I've actually never heard of him before today. But we have a lot of guys once again who took the time to go back to school, who took the time to learn about finances, who took the time, to educate themselves on the nuances of finances. And so, when we look at the totality of things, man, we just got to do better as far as what we put our focus on, man. I got a lot of books in here and a lot of knowledge, that could uplift people better than dribbling the ball all day. Better than watching. Like think about it. They actually dribble the ball and they throw it in a basket. You know what I mean? Think about it. They actually take a ball and run it and try to get it across the line. That is what they're paying these guys millions of dollars for. But the teacher, the engineer, the things that matter in life don't get that kind of compensation. And so it's all a pipe dream. What was that show back in the days? Hoop Dreams. It's a dream. It's a dream. Some of us, like I said, I have relatives who have made it. I have friends who have made it. And one of them told me, he said, man, sometimes I just lay on the field before the games and I just be like, thank you, God. You know what I'm saying? Because it's literally a dream. It's literally a dream. So this social construct that, I got mothers right now, who take their kids to AAU games every and the kids are good, but I mean, they have hundreds of more times of making it as a doctor than they will making it in the National Football League or the NBA. They have hundreds or even thousands of more times of being a lawyer than they have making it to the NBA or the NFL. Their probabilities are so much more if they will put their time and energy into something other than sports. Now I get it. Sports helps you, with communication, with relationships, with networking, with sportsmanship, with handling losses in life. All of those things are good. All of those things build character, build resilience, build discipline, all of those things, right? But the end goal is so far from reality that, it shouldn't even be a reality. It shouldn't even be a goal. You know what I mean? Literally, like you gotta be really lucky. That's what it is. It's lucky, fortunate, blessed by God, anointed to get to the league, barring injuries, barring, mishaps, barring, just all types of stuff, have to go exactly right for you to get to the league. So, I don't know why we watch and put so much stock into this. Once again, when people show you who they are, believe them. We don't believe them by now. I don't know, what we are doing. Notice anything and everything we sell, and even on our YouTube channels, there's always going to be an unnecessary mayonnaise devil and the wannabe mayonnaise people trying to put us in. I ain't seen them. I be trying to duck them, and one thing I learned about, this is sometimes you can't even engage. As Jay-Z said. What did he say? Well, Jay-Z didn't say it, but he said it in the rap. A wise man doesn't argue with fools because people from a distance don't know who is who. Even the Bible says, reprove a fool and he will hate you for it. But a wise man accepts correction. So, that's how I kind of look at it. Sometimes, I try to avoid reading the comments because it's like, man, okay. You know what I'm saying? You got it. Like, all right, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. But I definitely appreciate everyone who watches this channel and subscribes to this channel and who taking the time. I haven't did a live in a long time. That's why I said, let me do a live on this real quick. But yeah, man, I just hate that we literally think about it, man. Do y'all know how many sports talk shows there are? Like, people are signing hundreds of millions of dollars just off their ability to talk about sports. You have YouTubers up here who are making a living just talking about sports. That's another form of the exploitation of black labor. Once again, it's slavery. These black, I'm talking about, man, their bodies. They said the average collision on a football field is the equivalent of a car wreck going 45 miles per hour. Like I said, I had a friend who played, man, we were leaving one day. He got up to take us back to the airport. He couldn't even stand up. He was like, man, I got to go get my treatment. You know what I'm saying? You don't know, like, these guys actually get shot up with stuff to play the game, and after the game, after that medicine wear off, they can barely even walk. So that is the and then after they're finished, oh, you gotta go. We got no more use for you. You know what I'm saying? They literally, like, it's, if you can't make us no money, but like, that's how you see so many NFL or NBA players, on D-rugs, in prison, stand on the street, Delonte West type activity, going broke because, like, they're literally discarded. I heard, one, I don't know if it was Dick Gregory or Paul Mooney said, man, after white people are finished with their tours, they break them. And I'm like, man, like, some of those things seem so direct, but they are so true. They are so true. Dion barely walking. Yeah, Dion, you see his toes. He had to get 3 toes cut off. Look at Shaq. Like, look at them ex-players. You know what I'm saying? Look at them ex-players and see how they walk and talk. And then not to mention the CTE. You know what I'm saying? They keep hitting their head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I played Little League football, junior high, JV, and varsity. I remember some of them hits. And they used to taught us to hit with our head. And I know I was concussed a lot of times. That's probably why I did so much crazy stuff in my life. Because I won't like, I done been concussed so many times. I was a linebacker and a running back. So my job was to bow. You know what I'm saying? We used to call it head up. You know what I'm saying? We that's what we would go helmet to helmet. You know what I'm saying? We were taught to hit with our heads. You know what I mean? But now, oh no, we can't. They got all of this technology now after people done went crazy. They said Andre Waters. If y'all remember Andre Waters from the Philadelphia Eagles, it was a while ago, but he was 44 years old, and they found him in a hotel room. They found him in a hotel room, and he had blinded himself. And they said when they did the autopsy on him, they said he had the brain of an 88-year-old with Alzheimer's. 88-year-old with Alzheimer's. Oh yeah, let's not talk about. We got to talk about. Let's not talk about the disparity when certain players get in trouble and certain players don't. You remember Brett Favre that stole all the money from the welfare program in Mississippi? We ain't heard a lick about that yet. They talked about it for about 30 minutes. Somebody called Stephen A out on it, right? But let a black player, get caught with some trees. Man, they'll talk about that for a week. Oh, he's just a bad person. Y'all remember who was that? Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson had the masseuse scandal ever since that he said he wasn't going to sign for that $200 million that they gave him. Now all of a sudden they got the masseuse scandal, right? But y'all remember Robert Kraft and all of the NBA owners that were caught up in that masseuse scandal? You heard about that for 15 minutes. And that went away. But Deshaun Watson became the poster boy of actual perversion, right? Remember Ben Roethlisberger. Y'all know Big Ben. He went in the bathroom and took something that didn't belong to him. It's documented. Didn't even serve a game suspension. He did it twice. There was a punter sometime that was beating the dog crap out of his wife. Never heard of it. I mean, we can go all down the line. Ray Rice, right? Ray Rice became the poster child for domestic violence, got kicked out of the league, never played it down again. But it is this white boy from Seattle that beat, y'all can Google it. A white boy from Seattle beat the dog dookie out of this black girl. And I think he's still playing today. He told his black girlfriend to get on her knees and bark like a dog or something. And she wouldn't, and he beat the dog dookie out. And guess what they said? Well, he just didn't take his medicine that day. Mental health. You know what I mean? Like it's so like, bro, like, and that's why, once again, I just go so hard on racism because I see it. I've seen it. Josh Giddey, right now. Josh Giddey for the Oklahoma City Thunders. Look it up. He was messing with a 15-year-old girl. He was in the league. Never heard anything about it. Never missed a game. Yeah, the Justin Tucker. Yeah, I knew it was Justin Tucker. Yeah. Man, I'm talking about, man, there's so many cases of racial disparity when it comes to the coverage of indiscretions of athletes. Man, it's appalling, man. It's so many of those white players. Okay, appreciate it, Latiro. Thank you. Appreciate everybody who stopped by, man. I used to really do it live every night, you know what I'm saying? But it got so draining. But I said, let me hop on real quick and talk about this stuff because that's all I've been seeing up and down my timeline is, Dion and Shadure. Like, we already know this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Mike Irvin, you know what I'm saying? He liked to do, you know what I'm saying? He liked to mess with a couple of white girls every now and then. And I mean that literally and figuratively. You know what I'm saying? Niggas play football, baseball, and basketball with a white boy cut out their ball. Oh, whoa. Yeah. But Dr. Francis Cress Wilson talked about that too. How sports is like they say, what they call it? Why they call it football? What is, you know what I'm saying? The goal of football is to put the brown ball cross it over the white line, right? It's always she talked about it sexual. the goal of golf is to put the white ball into the black hole. You know what I'm saying? Like I forgot, if y'all ever read the ISIS papers, don't read them, or watch some of her lectures. Rest in peace to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. But she talked about, and that's what it boils down to, honestly, the fear of white genetic annihilation. She says that, white men fear black men because we have the genetic, my fault. Gideon's on the Bulls, right? But she said we have the genetic ability, just with our Johnsons, for lack of a better word, to wipe them out, because anybody we procreate with, they're going to be black. They said, she said, this is a doctor now. This is not my words. This is Dr. Frances Cress Welsing words. She said, the black gene is dominant. The white gene is recessive. That's why anytime a black man goes into a white woman, the baby is black. Anytime a Chinese man goes into a white person, the baby is Chinese. Anytime an Indian comes, so she said that's what they feared, but their greatest equalizer was the gun. So we just have a natural DNA that makes us a target. That's why when they used to hang black men, what was the first thing that they did? They cut off the genitalia. Why? Because that was a way of, them equalizing themselves. Like it's sickening, man. It's sickening. It's sickening. And I just saw that someone was saying that Trump was paying our women $5,000 to have a baby. And I seen a black girl posted it and shaking her head. I had to remind her, I said, nah, that's not for us. That's for white women, because they are having a low mortality rate. They have a low birth rate now. They have actually a negative. I've been watching Stephen Darby is my man. Yeah, he woke me up. Yeah, him. And no matter how much Dr. Umar has fell off, he was one of my guys back in like 2010 that woke me up. Tariq Nasheed. That's what I fell into. Amos Wilson, Steve Coakley, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, Yosef Ben Yakinen, John Ari Clark, Anthony Browder, so many scholars, Dick Gregory, so many people really broke this down. And that's what we have to look up the statistics on mothers. They are, they are knocking our sisters off in labor too. But that's why we have to have our own babies. Like, somebody said, like even the way we're birthing babies, right? They take us to the birthing site and we lay on our backs, and that is against nature, because the baby supposed to drop down. That's why. And in other cultures they squat and have their baby. And I seen, I seen women who, have them. You're supposed to be standing up. Why? Because gravity helps the baby go down. Why are we laying on our back and pushing? You know what I'm saying? Like it's so much science to this, man, that we have been taught wrong, backwards. You know what I'm saying? That is why the educational side. I think I got a couple of videos coming about how the educational system has indoctrinated us to this culture of degeneracy, and we've accepted it because we don't know ourselves. The first step in education is to first teach a person about themselves. Then you teach them about everybody else. You know what I'm saying? The education comes from the word educare, which means to bring out from within. To bring out from within. You know what I mean? So we are not being educated in America. We are being indoctrinated. Yeah, the evil medical practice. And think about it. If you don't know, pharmacy Pharmacy comes from the Greek word pharmakeia, which means sorcery, witchcraft. You know, so they're giving us these medicines that, you know, think about it. Our bodies are genetically different than theirs. So anything that they give us and tell them it's good for us, it's good for them, maybe, but it may not be good for us because we have a very different chemical makeup. We have melanin. So, man, I don't even know how I got on this tonight, man, but I only plan to be on for an hour tonight. But, you know, I really thank y'all for just tuning in. Thank y'all for everybody in the comments. You know, thank y'all, you know, who have subscribed. If y'all haven't, please subscribe. Thank y'all who donated as well. I ain't put my cash out there today. But if y'all do want to donate, let me put it up there real quick. If y'all enjoy this live, let me put it up there real quick. Maybe somebody who wants to donate to this channel, or I think it's in my my bio as well. But also, if y'all want to buy any of my books, let me see if I got some copies over here. If y'all don't know, I am an author. So I haven't been promoting my books lately. But if y'all want to buy one of my books, this is my first book. It's called Brushes with Death, The Blood of Jesus. It's about my life in the streets and all the dangerous situations that God saved me from. This is also a true story. About me being wrongly accused, rightfully acquitted, falsely accused of kidnapping, abduction with intent to defile, some more charges. Blue lights in my rear view. The history of police targeting of Black people, all the way back from slavery to what we are seeing now. And if you've been watching this channel, you know what we have been seeing. And also I got Son of a Preacher Man. Now this is about my father who was, you know, raised in a bad home. What's up, CJ? He, you know, got on D-Rugs, and then he got, you know, saved, gave his life to God, and then gave me the father he never had. And it's about the importance of fatherhood. So all 4 books are available on my website right there, TaylorHousePublications.com. You can go to the site, go to the store, and then you can purchase a book. Book's only $20. Plus shipping. So if y'all do Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, yep, exactly. And it's so deep, man. It's so deep, man. We need to really leave. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about, you know what I'm saying, got my passport stamp. So I think America would be better segregated. Yep, want to talk about that. Malcolm X said it best, CJ. I don't understand why we still letting our kids go to these schools. That's right. Because Malcolm X says, only your food will allow his enemies to educate his children. So, man, we can go on and on about this tonight, but I do got to give me some rest. But once again, stay tuned. Oh, yeah, tomorrow, check out my exclusive interview with the father of Michael Brown. Mike Brown, you know, the one that set off the Ferguson riots. I had a chance to interview him down in Mississippi. So, we are going to release that video tomorrow. And so about 4:00, y'all make sure y'all check it out, turn on your notifications or whatever, you know, because once again, the media was able to lie to us about that situation. And, you know, our dear brother, I did not receive any justice from this unjust system. So y'all tune in, but I thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for supporting the channel. Y'all have a great night. It's been Phillips. Thank you, Bird, man. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Salute, man. Appreciate you, Bird, man. Definitely, man. Salute y'all, man. Thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed night. I don't know if y'all on the East Coast, West Coast, Mid Coast, Africa, Switzerland, Holland. You know, like my man said it too. You know what I'm saying? But I'm on the East Coast, so it's 11 o'clock over here. So I got the About to give me some rest. But yeah, y'all feel free to reach out, man, if y'all have a story that y'all want told. I also publish books as well. So if you have a book that you've been writing and you want to get it published, feel free to reach out. My number's up there as always, 919-587-7782. But I definitely thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a blessed night. And as always, peace and blessings. Y'all stay woke. Stay dangerous, as my brother said. Stay dangerous. Peace and love.